Thoughts on teams with losing records making the playoffs while some with winning records don't? We get this. You and I were talking this morning about there's too many teams that make the playoffs argument. That's not really what this is.
No.
This is more like a sense of injustice for teams who have put together a nice season, and I think that's a fair predicament.
If anything, I think that speaks to that's an argument against the people who say that too many teams make the playoffs, is that there are still good teams that are left out.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just the luck of the draw. It's the strength
Yeah.
of your region. It's a strength of things. And, yeah, there are extenuating circumstances in which a 1-9 team will make the playoffs. There's no way around it when you've got 4 teams making the playoffs, in my opinion. It stinks. It's a tough situation, but at the same time, I think it also speaks to ultimately let's put it this way. I don't ever want them to expand the playoffs beyond this. This is my cap.
Right.
If they expanded it, if the UIL expanded the playoffs beyond this, like 5 teams from every district, that would be a red line for me. I would say that's too many teams.
Yeah.
So, for me, if you cannot make the top 4 in your district, that speaks to the fact that you just weren't good enough. I'm sorry. I hate to be like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's real easy to rack up. We're seeing it with a couple of teams that have racked up impressive non-district records, maybe because they schedule soft teams.
Right.
And then they collapse down the stretch, and you go, well, what happened? Well, they were never that good. And, so 6-4, and you're missing the playoffs, what that tells me is, 1, your district's probably pretty good, and 2, you probably played a soft non-district. Or, in the case of like a team like Post, like they lost their star running back. I think Michael Ferguson is his name.
Yeah.
They lost his star running back, and they started falling off the map.
Yeah, our
That's
friend.
unlucky.
The other thing is Shea makes a good point. He said, the question is a little bit weird because you have to look at the district record and that's it.
Yes.
You can see a team who's lost their 4 pre-district games, but they have a 500 record, but they went 5-1 in district or something like that, and that's all that matters. So that's great in district play.
We're talking let's talk about a team like Cibolo Steel. Right. I tweeted about.
You were
them
talking about
yesterday.
this last night. Yeah.
Cibolo Steel is a team that started 1-4, and their losses were to Lake Travis, who has 2 losses and 2 very good losses, I would say. 2 losses to top 5 teams. San Antonio O'Connor, who's undefeated.
Yeah.
Judson, who's one of the teams that beat Lake Travis and has 1 loss, to Smithson Valley, which is the other team that they lost to. So, and then since then they've been able to make a change at quarterback and things have gotten on track. So that's a perfect example of a team, maybe the reverse of that, where they played such a brutal non-district and the beginning of their district slate was so horrendous that they are starting to feel better. That is a team that I am glad that 4 teams make the playoffs.
Right.
Because otherwise, a team like Steel, who I still think is a very good team, would have missed the playoffs.
Yeah.